Hey everybody, this is Trish with Urban Farming with Trish. I have Emm here today with New Garden Who Dis. Hi Emm.
Hey Trish, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I just wanted to talk to you because first of all, from what I can see, I think you're an awesome mom.
Wow, thank
And
you.
I think your experience you can share with other moms that's at home in this pandemic, teaching their children at home. And I noticed that you were teaching your children about gardening and the importance of the beneficial insects in a garden, such as the ladybugs and butterflies. Um, Tell us about your experience of as far as being an at-home mom and educating your children.
Well, you know what? I actually feel like I'm a little bit ahead of the game because I've been homeschooling now for 3 years.
Okay.
Since my oldest was in kindergarten, we started.
Mm-hmm.
This has been my first year of doing it by myself. I
Mm-hmm.
used to outsource a lot of the things that I didn't want to do, like science. I didn't want to do the science projects because I'm not into messes. I'm not into, all the things that make science fun for kids. At least I wasn't until we started this garden. And we started back in December. And the kids started off with their little cups and, to germinate their seeds, and they're learning all the words, and they built an excitement for it, except the bugs. They don't like the bugs. Mama don't like the bugs either, but we have to coexist. And so I wanted to teach them about the beneficial insects. And that was the video that you saw where I did a ladybug release because we have an aphid problem. The aphids were eating everything, which made the kids not even want to go outside because they just felt gross because all of these tiny little green and orange bugs everywhere.
Yeah, they love tomatoes. Yeah.
They love to, well, you know what? They've really been into my lettuces more than anything else. So and roses, they've been into my roses. So anyway, the girls didn't want to go out because ew, bugs. And so we went and got the ladybugs. They were still grossed out by the ladybugs.
Yeah.
But at least they were interested. Right? And so, and of course, all of the flowers outside, everything drew in the bees. They're scared to death of the bees.
Oh,
so what I mean, and I'm getting over it. I'm getting over it in this garden. So what I decided was to develop a curriculum for them that would introduce the benefits of these bugs and why we need them. I mean, everybody has heard about Save the Bees.
Yeah.
We all heard about that. And it's important that this next generation grows up with that in their mind from the beginning. That we need to stop using pesticides that kill the bees. And now they notice when we're out in our courtyard and the bees are dead on the ground, they notice it now. And they go, oh, that bee could have helped us, And I like that for them because I want them to be good global citizens, not just people, but also insects and animals. And I just want them to
respect life.
Absolutely. I want them to know their connection to the planet and to know that their hands have power. And so their hands are in the dirt now. All of our hands are in the dirt now. And we're responsible for taking care of the animals and the insects that are in our presence. And so we're working on it. We're developing. I mean, we're doing things like we're learning the anatomy of insects. We're learning the life cycles of insects. There's a lot going on over here that happened in just a few months.
Yeah, I just want to just call out some of the name of the insects that are good for the garden. And I wrote it down because I knew I wasn't going to remember all of it off top. So we have ladybugs are good. The praying mantis is good. The spider mite predator. It's on here, but is that really good?
I don't quite find that one good myself.
Right, and then I see they say it's beneficial. The white fly predator.
Something that we don't want around. I haven't looked at spider mites because I have to start with the insects that are going to be appealing to a 5 and 7
So
year
we know ladybugs and butterflies are a go.
Right. In fact, we're actually we're raising some butterflies right now. We have caterpillars.
Yeah,
we got little caterpillars going.
How did you get those?
So we ordered these. There's lots of companies online where you can order them, and they come as tiny, tiny little caterpillars. They look like rice almost. They're that tiny when they come.
Wow.
And this particular kit comes with the food. It comes with the net that you switch them over to. We've already gone over the instructions so the girls know what to expect. And they're watching it every day. They're just interested. And so it's making all the lessons just kind of flow because they have this hands-on experience with these particular
Yeah,
insects. And
watching
then
it
when
from
they
the
see them,
beginning.
absolutely. And then they're also learning by watching, like they can see how the insects eat. And I had to do a video because they refused to go out the day that I did the ladybug release because there were 1,500 ladybugs.
Oh,
There's a
wow.
lot. There's a lot of ladybugs.
Yes.
And they were everywhere. There are a few videos on my page, New Garden Who Dis, because I'm so fascinated by them. And I just had to share. And what I did for the girls, since they didn't want to go out when they were so active, is I just did a little controlled experiment and I put them in a container and did videos and show, and they were able to watch the ladybugs eating the aphids. And now they can see the roses blooming,
Right.
which we were worried that they wouldn't. And
Yeah,
I'm just loving teaching them this life cycle and
absolutely.
giving them the importance of that connection. It's
Yeah.
invaluable to me to be connected with nature.
And in a regular school curriculum, I think this particular curriculum will come at a later age group. The fact that you're teaching them so young, and according to you, they're understanding everything about it, means that maybe the main independent school district need to make some changes. Maybe our children can learn things a little bit sooner than waiting until they're older and then don't want to hear it at that time, at that point.
Right. Well, you know what I'm finding is that children will learn anything that you teach them.
Yeah.
Anything.
Hmm.
Anything. They don't have limitations about grade levels or what's appropriate for that
Hmm.
age. They'll learn absolutely anything. And what we have is the benefit of being really close so that I can watch what they're interested in. I can observe
Hmm.
and use the things. We've had lessons using dolls because they're really into dolls. The
Hmm.
teachers don't get to do that. In the
Yeah.
in the traditional school setting, they have to toe
Follow.
the line. Yeah, they
Hmm.
have to toe the line. They don't
Hmm.
get to say, "Oh, Sarah's really into this, so let me use this to help her." They don't get to
Hmm.
focus on Sarah. They have to
Yeah.
focus on the whole.
Which
And
is
so
unfortunate. Yeah.
it is unfortunate. And for those of us who have the privilege of homeschooling
Hmm.
by choice,
Hmm.
it really is a privilege to be able to be home with my children and to know them as people and
Right.
and people always ask about socialization and that kind of thing, but
Hmm.
now everybody kind of gets to see with the pandemic what
Yeah.
happens but this is not homeschooling, just so you know.
But
Pandemic schooling is not homeschooling.
when our children are at school, the teachers probably will spend more waking time with our children than we do. So this
Absolutely.
pandemic actually is just a blessing in disguise. It's not good, but in some ways it's a blessing in
For
disguise.
some, yes, in many situations,
Hmm.
it is a blessing. And for the people who have lost loved ones, it is a terrible, terrible, dear tragedy.
Hmm.
It's so polar, this situation, because for me it's been a good bonding experience with my
Hmm.
nearest and dearest, because we don't get out to be with other people, so
That's
we just
true.
bring to one another. and
Yeah.
and although the children do miss their social life, they do miss their co-ops, they
Hmm.
miss their park days, they miss going to the museums and all the things that we
Hmm.
traditionally can do as homeschoolers. They miss
Hmm.
all of those things,
Yeah.
which is why I felt the need to bring more into the house.
Hmm.
This we I never thought about having a garden here before. It's only a 1,200 square foot condo.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot of space here.
Right.
But the good thing is it doesn't take a lot of space to build a
Hmm.
container garden.
Hmm.
I mean, you can grow herbs on a windowsill. It doesn't
Hmm.
take much to let a child watch a seed grow,
Right.
you know?
From
So
the beginning to end.
getting all the way to their plate.
But
Because
it's really bigger than that because they'll also know how to survive. Who knows what the future holds? You're teaching them how to plant a seed and grow food that they can actually eat.
Mhm, mhm. And I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, as you should be. We talked about the some of the bad bugs or bad insects in the garden. I'm just gonna call out some. No, we talked about the good ones. I'm sorry, the good ones,
We
which
talked
is
about
the
the bad aphids. We didn't
yeah,
like
the
them.
aphids are bad, bad, bad. When you see that, you know it is not a friend of
Mm-hmm.
your garden. And then you know what's weird because I'm kind of looking at something. We know the spider mites are bad. The thrip bugs are bad. The fungus gnats are definitely annoying and bad for your garden.
That were terribly annoying
Um,
at the
the
least.
whit fly, the millibug, and the leaf miners.
Well, we're dealing with cabbage moths quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they found this space pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
so I'm always out there spraying neem oil on everything to, and that's the other thing, we're doing organic gardening. So
Yeah.
because we're not using any pesticides, of course,
Hmm.
everything is going to find this attractive. We had a mouse on the patio the other day.
We know the moths are bad because it creates those I forget the name of those caterpillars, the green ones. I'll show a pic that will tear your garden apart.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's
yeah.
this is the benefit of having a small container garden, is
Hmm.
that you can actually go out and look at everything. When it's
Yeah.
really big and it's
Hmm.
outside, it's a little harder to stay on top of everything. But I have been on top of everything because, I think I probably have about 30 plants.
Okay.
It's not,
That's
that's not
still a
bad.
pretty
It's a
it's,
good
it's
size,
good size.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But my time is about 30 minutes unless I have something intense going on
Hmm.
out there. But it's about 30 minutes of maintenance, just checking the underside of leaves to
Hmm.
see who's moved in and working out a solution. And really that's what it's been, because I don't know all of this stuff. I've never had a
Hmm.
garden. I mean, when I was a kid, my grandparents had a garden,
Hmm.
but I didn't get all into the fine details of the insects and the
Hmm.
pests that they had to deal with. And so I'm learning as we go. And
Yeah.
that's something that I also think is valuable to my children, is that
Hmm.
they get to see me as a full grown adult still learning things, you know,
Yeah.
and
Learning
it'll
together.
absolutely, and it'll instill in them the value of being a lifetime learner.
Well, they're gonna love it even more because we have a few days to spring, and I'm so
Mhm.
excited. Which zone are you in?
I'm in zone 10B.
10B.
Yeah, so we really don't have many. We can
All year
grow year
round.
round. Yeah, most things we can grow year round. I do have to be careful about a few things because it does get so hot, and so the cool weather things like broccoli are kind of struggling. So I'm kind of babying the broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and cover her at noon and make sure. Yeah,
I
it,
was wondering, what advice can you give to homeschool moms? Like, how do they get started or get motivated to add this curriculum into their children's work study or school
well,
study?
I would say my first bit of advice is just talk to your kid about it
Mm-hmm.
and see if this is a child who even is interested in staying home, because you wouldn't want a child to feel trapped because their life has changed so drastically.
Yeah.
Now with this pandemic, it's a little bit different because I feel like we have a little more leeway to
Mm-hmm.
make some different choices for our kids because they haven't had the choice to go
Mm-hmm.
to classes.
Yeah.
But the way that we do it is we're registered through a charter school.
Mm-hmm.
So we do still check in. I'm not an unschooler. That was, I need some structure personally. I require structure.
Okay.
So we have the charter school. We do check in with assignments and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say look into homeschooling communities in your area, because there are groups everywhere. And there are people in your community that'll tell you how they've gone about doing it, because it's going to be different everywhere. I follow state standards because I do still want my children competitive.
Yeah.
If for some reason they decided that they did want to actually go to a physical school,
Mm-hmm.
I want them to have that option and not feel behind in any way. So
Mm-hmm.
I like them to still be academically competitive,
Okay.
along with having all of these extra experiences. Now, if you're already into pandemic schooling and you're deciding that you want to keep your kids out, I would say, first of all, breathe on it.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe on it, because we don't homeschool is not the same as school. And
Right.
we shouldn't try to make it look like that. Yeah, I have lots of workbooks and things, but that's because that works for my children. They
Right.
like the accomplishment of completing a book. Know your children, find out how they learn individually, because one teaching method isn't going to necessarily work for all of your children.
Right.
Sometimes you may have a child who is a tactile learner. They need to touch things. I have one who's a squisher. She needs to put her hands in things. It's messy. And so I give her a lot of projects that allow her to do that
Right.
in between getting the other things done. I have a visual learner. She needs a lot of videos. She needs flashcards, the kind of things where she can just have repetitive information. And it's just the kind of kid she is. It's the way that she operates. And that shows in everything else that she does, in the way that she plays, in the way that she cleans, in everything. Once you check out your kid, it'll be clear to you the method that you can use for homeschooling.
Yeah, the style. And I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing that you're able to identify their needs. Because, like, again, we said it earlier, when they're in a crowded classroom, kids can get lost in there. And everybody's not meant for school, even regular school. Every kid is not meant for college. Every kid is not meant for school. And being today, we know that most of that stuff is just a business anyway.
Oh, you know it. You
Yeah,
know it. And
you know.
the fact that I was in one of the groups and someone mentioned that when you homeschool your child, you're taking funds from the local public school. That should never be the first thought when it comes to educating our children. However, I do understand that it is a business, and it's a business that guides children to other businesses, that then guides children to what? Work in other businesses.
Right.
Well, I'm trying to raise entrepreneurs here.
Okay.
I'm trying to raise, like I said, global citizens who can pick up and travel the world while being functional in society. And so to do that, they have to have no walls. They have to be free, they have to be able to fly now and know that that's a possibility.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that. I mean, I was a banker for 20 years before the children.
Right.
And I was dedicated to doing that and climbing that ladder. And I never saw this for myself. Well, I take that back. I saw it in retirement. Right. I saw myself out in my garden in retirement. And now here we're living this life now.
Every day.
We get to live this life. And I'm so abundantly grateful that we get to do that. I feel so blessed to be able to do that with my children.
Right. You're definitely an inspiration. I definitely can say that. And I hope all the moms who's out there homeschooling in this pandemic introduce gardening and the importance of insects in the garden and what's good and what's bad. And to see things grow from the beginning to the end is priceless. You can't put a price tag on that.
Not at all. Not at all. And the one subject that I said that I didn't necessarily want to do, science, is now the biggest subject in our house. This garden is in every subject. We have books, or it's covering our literature. We're reading about it. We're studying on it. It's in the science, it's in the math, because yes, my children are mixing soils. So they've done fractions this month already, because this is what we're doing. This is our life. And we're progressing into other things that are, I think they're about to start a business. Okay. We'll see. This is what they've been talking about. So,
wow. Well, if so, Urban Farming with Trish is going to be the first customer, if not one of the first few. So definitely keep us posted. So to all the moms out there who's homeschooling their children, definitely, if you want inspiration, you can definitely get it from Emm, and follow her on her page with New Garden Who This. We definitely going to keep you. We're going to keep an eye on you. We want to learn. We want to see, your journey in homeschooling, because so far it's been so successful, and we need this.
Yeah. Yeah. And the times are changing. We are out here doing this.
Changing for good.
Absolutely. We're taking our space and we're building a whole new generation.
Thank you so much, Emm.
Thank you,
for your inspiration. And we're going to talk again. All right. So when we get
All right.
those businesses going, we definitely want to keep an eye on that. But thank
All
you for
right.
being here. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Saw videos of them taking them down. Just gonna get out the way for it. Okay, because you working out. This one went around this aloe plant several times. Yeah, it's just doing laps.